Quite rightly, Trump is tanking. And this, you may think, is irrelevant, but it's important. Really, the only way you can effectively stop an authoritarian is by a popular uprising. This is the very respective Quinnipiac poll, just released today. Remember the so-called Big Beautiful Bill?
Big Ugly Bill.
What did Elon Musk call it?
I don't remember.
Disgusting abomination bill. Well, most voters agree. Do you think they agree with Trump or Musk?
Trump.
Nope.
No, I mean Musk. I mean Musk.
According to the poll, 53% oppose the bill. Only 27% support it. That's double the number who support it, and 20% just don't know enough to offer an opinion. Only 67% of Republicans support the bill. Only 2% of Democrats. Only 20% of independents. 47% of voters think federal funding for Medicaid should increase. 40% say it shouldn't decrease, should stay the same. Only 10% think federal funding for Medicaid should decrease, one of the key elements of the bill. Even among Republicans, only 18% say that funding for Medicaid should decrease. Overall, get this, Sam.
Okay.
38% of voters approve the way Donald Trump is handling his job as president. 54% disapprove.
How does this guy win the election?
Because people got fooled, and I don't understand how they could have.
Right. Those numbers are so underwater. Doesn't make sense.
Historic low for this point in a presidency, by far. Historic low for this point in a presidency, by far. I'm just so amazed. And what's his big issue? Immigration?
Yeah.
43% approval, 54% disapprove.
Oh, my God.
Deportations, 40% approve, 56% disapprove. Trade, 38% approve, 57% disapprove. Universities, 37% approve, 57% disapproved. And this is true right down the line on every issue, including his signature issues. He's deeply underwater. And this is not an outlier poll. Another poll came out, the NRC poll, at the same time, and it had Trump's approval rating at 39%, 60% disapproving, a 21% gap, very similar to the Quinnipiac poll. So, quite rightly, Trump is tanking. And this, you may think, is irrelevant, but it's important. Really, the only way you can effectively stop an authoritarian is by a popular uprising, is if he loses support in a big way among the people.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Do you think this changes anything? Is his administration going to take this to heart and pivot on a few things?
I'm not sure his administration will take it to heart. I don't think they care. But members of Congress will. You know, they want to get reelected.
Yeah. But especially Republicans, doesn't seem like they're ever going to try to combat Trump on anything.
Well, I've always said politics is like Wall Street. It runs on two things, fear and greed. And if they're fearful enough that they're going to lose their political power, that is the only way they are going to in any way stand up to Trump. Yeah. So far, we haven't seen it.
Right.
But it's very, very early, and elections are pretty far away.
And maybe because he's in his second term, they're a little bit less afraid of him, possibly. I don't know, because they'll be up for re-election in the middle of his term.
Every member of Congress and a third of the Senate, and there are quite a few members of Congress in difficult swing districts who won very narrowly when Trump won in 2024, and really can't afford any erosion of Republican support in 2026. No, I don't think Trump cares about anything. I think nothing can move Trump. And I also, everyone talks about Biden's mental acuity. We've talked about this before. It manifests itself in different ways, but you can also see Trump has lost a lot of mental acuity with his rambling, crazy, nonsensical, non-grammatical rants. In fact, Trump's rants are so nonsensical. We just got something amazing released today. This was from a month ago, a little more maybe, a transcript of the hearing about the quote-unquote administrative error in deporting Abrego Garcia, Sam.
Yeah.
And, Trump was saying, I can bring him back anytime I want, right?
Right.
And, of course, the lawyers for Garcia brought that up, saying, hey, the president says he can bring him back. How can you tell us you can't bring him back? You know what the lawyers said?
Tell me.
You can't really listen to what Trump says. He doesn't speak with precision.
Oh, my God.
He doesn't necessarily speak for the administration.
Have
you ever heard lawyers for an administration ever admit that you can't take the president of the United States at his word because he doesn't speak accurately?